The rumor didn't arrive like a whisper in the hallways of the NBA. It hit the Western Conference conversation like a sledgehammer crashing onto a glass table, scattering pieces across every front office, every locker room, every fan forum. Jonathan Kuminga, Malik Monk, the Warriors and the Lakers, to franchises with dynasties carved in different languages of glory, suddenly locked in speculation that feels less like trade chatter and more like an earthquake rumbling under the very foundation of the league. Welcome back to Lakers News Fan Report, where purple and gold passion collides with the raw, unfiltered truth shaping our future. Smash that like, subscribe, and hit the bell, because if this goes down, every heartbeat in Los Angeles will feel it. Let's cut right into it. The Golden State Warriors, that dynasty of movement, patience, and calculated brilliance, are weighing the unthinkable. After years of treating Kuminga as both promise and puzzle, they're now rumored to be considering parting ways with the 20-year-old lightning rod. This isn't just another trade idea tossed into the rumor mill. It's a question of identity. For Golden State, letting him go would signal the dynasty shifting its gaze from development to survival, from nurturing potential to squeezing the last drops out of Stephen Curry's championship window. And for the Lakers, it would mean adding a wild card, a raw but dazzling piece whose ceiling might align perfectly with the twilight brilliance of LeBron James and the fragile, towering presence of Anthony Davis. The spark was lit when Alan Stiles of Sacktown Sports 1140 threw his grenade. Kuminga for Monk, maybe with a protected pick sweetener. Simple words, but they carried the weight of possibility. Instantly, the discourse ignited. Malik Monk, the streaky scorer who once wore our jersey with flashes of brilliance, became the centerpiece of a conversation about risk, redemption, and roster recalibration. We remember his 2021 winning stint in LA vividly, 13.8 points per game, nearly 40% from deep, burst of energy that gave the team hope amid chaos. He was the guy who made us believe that fire could come from unexpected places. And yet, since leaving, his arc has drifted. With Sacramento, he's scoring 17 points a night, yes, but shooting just 30.5% from beyond the arc, a number that stings for a Lakers team obsessed with perimeter efficiency. He has juice, but does he have the consistency that our championship DNA demands? Now shift to Kuminga, still raw, still volatile, but undeniably gifted. He embodies both promise and peril. His athleticism is electric, his defensive versatility tantalizing, his slashing game the kind of weapon that can slice through stagnant half-court sets. But his development has lagged behind expectations. He's caught between a Warriors organization, desperate to contend in the now, and his own trajectory that screams patience. Reports whisper that Kuminga is already considering the qualifying offer path, keeping the door open to future freedom rather than being boxed into a long-term deal. Translation: Golden State knows they may lose him for nothing. Better to trade him now, cash and value, than watch him slip away with regret. And this is where the Lakers enter the chessboard. Rob Pelinka, architect of audacity, finds himself staring at a board cluttered with contracts and constraints. LeBron's massive extension, AD's commitment, the rotation pressure on guys like Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, Jackson Hayes, Max Christie. Every dollar, every move is magnified. Kuminga isn't just another young name. He could be the bridge between eras, a player who carries both short-term energy and long-term upside. Imagine him running the floor next to Davis, locking in defensively while LeBron orchestrates from the top. Imagine a December game against Denver where Kuminga checks into the third quarter, ignites a fast break, and suddenly the Nuggets' stranglehold looks shaky. That's the vision. Potential turned into chaos, chaos turned into advantage. But here's the cliffhanger. What if it backfires? What if Kuminga, under the weight of LA's expectations, folds? What if Monk, released into Care's motion-heavy system, rediscovers his stroke and burns us from the bay? These aren't small what-ifs. They're legacies in motion. The Lakers have danced this dance before. Showtime was built on risks. Kobe and Shaq's dynasty was held together by moves bold enough to spark civil wars in the locker room. The 2010 back-to-back was forged on trades and belief. In 2020, the bubble championship that silenced doubters came from buyout depth and a roster that looked patched together until it became unstoppable. Every championship in LA has a trace of gamble written into its story. So is this next? Is Kuminga the gamble worth making? Think of how his athleticism could change us. He's not polished, No, but he's a disruptor. And in today's NBA, disruption is gold. A team like the Lakers, so often stuck when LeBron rests, could unleash Kuminga as chaos incarnate, full court energy, fearless drives, defensive matchups that let AD conserve energy for a franchise balancing on the knife's edge of a final LeBron push. That's invaluable. But if we pass, if Golden State ships him elsewhere, that might be the nightmare scenario. Watching him blossom into a star for another contender while Monk fades back into inconsistency. Meanwhile, think about the other side. Monk walking into Golden State is no small footnote. Kerr's offense thrives on movement, spacing, and secondary playmakers. Monk, when locked in, offers all three. He could become their microwave scorer, their sixth-man spark, the one who punishes defenses for overloading Curry and Clay. His inconsistency is real, but what if the Warriors are the system that irons it out? What if the very move that was supposed to elevate us instead resurrects them? That's why this rumor burns so hot. Both franchises stand at a hinge point. And the Western Conference? It's a jungle right now. Denver flexing dominance. Phoenix reinventing midseason. The Clippers lurking with aggressive buyout chases. Dallas with Luka rewriting nightly scripts. One wrong move, and you're buried. One right move, and you're vaulted into contention. The Lakers cannot afford missteps. Pelinka's chessboard isn't a puzzle. It's a minefield. Here's the history lesson we can't ignore. When LA gambles, it either reshapes the league or collapses spectacularly. D'Angelo Russell's midseason acquisition turned out to be a lifeline, reinvigorating the roster when it was gasping. Dwight Howard's 2012 arrival, by contrast, was a spectacular implosion. The lesson: every move carries legacy weight. And that's why Kuminga Monk doesn't feel like a minor shuffle. It feels like a pivot that could define whether LeBron's twilight ends with another banner or a quiet fade dot. So here we stand. Kuminga, Monk, the Warriors, the Lakers, names. On paper, yes, but in reality, they're symbols of bigger truths. Golden State asking if it's time to let go of tomorrow to chase today. Los Angeles asking if it's time to bet on tomorrow while still chasing today. To franchises caught in opposite mirrors of the same dilemma. And for us fans, it's torture and thrill all at once. While Kuminga in purple and gold become the ignition point for Banner 18, the chaos agent who shocks the league and reignites a dynasty. Or will this be another fracture, another cautionary tale of too much risk to little reward? And Monk, will he finally find redemption in Kerr's cathedral of movement, lining up Chase Center while we're left wondering what could have been? The truth is, nobody knows, and maybe that's why it matters so much, because the Lakers have always lived on that razor's edge, between triumph and collapse, between ecstasy and despair. That's the DNA of this franchise, and this rumor, it isn't just trade talk. It's a reflection of everything we are, everything we risk, everything we chase. The question now, Lakers Nation, is simple. Do we have the guts to roll the dice one more time? The crackle of tension snaps through Crypto.com arena, like a live wire sparking beneath the polished hardwood. Every pulse in the crowd sends to a heartbeat that doesn't dare slow down. Because what's happening isn't just a trade possibility. It's a seismic pivot that could rewrite the very DNA of purple and gold basketball, sending shockwaves from the depths of the front office straight into the soul of the roster and right up LeBron's legendary spine. Listen closely and you can hear the faint murmur of panic threaded with hope, the kind of static-charged energy that once ruled Showtime night after night, when every pass, every cut was a note in the symphony of dominance. Now take that energy, twist it with the cold, clinical reality of Rob Pelinka's cap room spreadsheet filled with toxic contracts and precious few wiggle rooms, and layer in the Warriors' rumored willingness to let Kuminga go, a 20-year-old jolt of raw, untamed potential, because they're stuck choosing between managing their championship window and grooming a star whose trajectory feels too explosive for their current balance. This isn't just a transaction, it's a tension coil wound so tight the slightest movement could snap the fragile cohesion within LA's hothouse team. Imagine Kuminga emerging from Golden State shadows and Ken Burns-style replays into the brutal sunlight of the Lakers' pressure cooker, where LeBron's ice-cold leadership glare meets the unpredictable fire of Anthony Davis. Injury-laden dominance, and amidst it all stands Austin Reeves, spine of grit and silky craft, and Rui Hachimura, a human floor spacer who has been carving out a niche built on quiet, industrious hustle. You hear the whispers, right? can Kuminga step into this constellation and not just survive, but thrive? The stakes are skyscraper high because if the Lakers misjudge this piece, it could shatter the already delicate locker room chemistry. That invisible ether that Kansas City's Jazz once called mystical, but the Lakers learned the hard way is brittle as fine glass when loaded with superstar egos, contract anxieties, and expectations heavier than the Hollywood spotlight. And Malik Monk, oh man, there's the enigma wrapped in scar tissue and flashes of brilliance, the guy who once lit up the purple haze with a scalar's grace, but now stings the eye with his erratic bullet fire, his shooting percentage dipping below what Cares catch-and-shoot orchestra demands, and yet, in Sacramento, he has clawed back to 17 points per game, smoldering just enough to tantalize, enough to keep the Warriors dreaming of a spark that could reanimate their outer perimeter, which had been sliced and diced by the relentless alley-oops of Denver and the dynamic war rooms of Phoenix. Picture it, Monk stepping into Steve Kerr's realm, the same place where Curry and Thompson sharpened their deadly curved bows, and yet a question grit against the backdrop. Will Monk, the what of man, become an improbable renaissance or a cautionary tale buried in Warriors lore? And the Lakers stand witness and potential beneficiary of this unfolding chess match, all while electric currents flash beneath the surface as Jackson Hayes and Max Christie train with eyes wide, sensing opportunity in the swirling fog of salary, cap chaos, a cap space so tight it's like squeezing the life out of a grape. Every dollar accounted for, every roster move a precision scalpel or a ticking time bomb. Now, here's the wild card most fans aren't putting in the playbook yet: the hidden clauses, the trade protections, the silent handshake deals that could kick this whole thing into overtime or sudden death. Imagine the Lakers acquiring Kuminga, not just on the terms we hear out loud, but tethered to conditions that shift the future drafts, that could truncate flexibility down the line, and suddenly, what seemed like a green light becomes a maze of legal limbo. What if this deal comes with strings so tangled they choke off the trajectory of future maneuvers Pelinka hoped to execute come next offseason? The tension isn't just in who suits up next Tuesday, it's in every layer of prize and peril stacked, like a house of cards shaking in the gale of Western Conference power politics, where Denver's juggernaut mentality sniffing out weaknesses, Phoenix's basketball machete carving new paths through the desert, and the Clippers like wolves circling from the west side, all watching and sharpening their knives. Could the addition of Kuminga be the shot of adrenaline that reignites a roster now gasping for sustainable depth, or will his integration fracture the fragile ecosystem? Will LeBron bear the weight of mentoring a raw, volatile talent while managing his own physical decline? Or does this risk pushing Davis further into that injury spiral, where he plays less than he dominates, a nightmare scenario for a purple and gold faithful who've seen too many finals slip through their fingers? Let's also not forget the ghosts of the past whisper warnings from the edges of memory, the Shaq Kobe tension that burned bright but rotted at the core, the struggles of integrating star talents that altered the course of the franchise more than anyone anticipated. How many times have we pinned our hopes on the next big thing, only to watch it get buried under the crushing weight of expectation and shattered locker room dynamics? And here, in 2025, we're staring down the barrel of that same question. Can the Lakers leverage this moment, this explosive, high-stakes rumor, and convert risk into reward? Or are they barreling toward another season of fractured promise and what-ifs? The silence from the Warriors front office speaks volumes, a calculated pause that fuels speculation, the kind of hush that before a storm strikes, because every second without confirmation breeds more tension, more doubts, more fevered fan theories that flood Twitter and bar conversations alike. And through it all, you can still hear that coiled spring under the courtside seats, the restless shifting of a franchise and fan base craving not just a championship, but clarity, direction, and a vision that feels authentic and bold. Because this isn't just about who wears the jersey next. It's about reshaping the Lakers' identity at a pivotal juncture, a juncture that reminds us all that purple and gold isn't just a color scheme, it's a legacy carved deep into history by dynasties built on guts, glory, and gut-wrenching sacrifice. So here we stand, with the future dangling on the edge of this dizzying possibility. Will Kuminga be the spark that rekindles the Lakers' championship fire, or the smoldering ember that gets snuffed under the weight of star wattage and crippling cap limitations? And what about Monk? Is his departure the lever that unshackles the Lakers' rebuilding gambit, or the missing piece that leaves the offense gasping for that elusive shooter who can tilt games with one single catch-and-shoot flick? As a Lakers fan born into the mythology of Kobe's fadeaway, Magic's vision, and LeBron's relentless pursuit of immortality, my heart races because I know this heat. No championship comes without pain, risk, and chaos lacing the edges. If Pelinka pulls this off, it could be the masterstroke against all odds. If it falters, it's another chapter in a saga of missed chances and roster roulette. I feel it deep in my bones the season's fate could twist on the axis of this deal. And now, the final question looming large and unforgiving, as a Laker till I draw my last breath. I can feel the earthquake rumbling under this season. Now tell me what's rattling your soul, because the firestorm hasn't even peaked. I'm not sold on Monk rejuvenating enough to mend the cap puzzle, but Kuminga's untapped upside might just be the disruptor the Lakers need if he can survive the spotlight without burning out. What happens next could define this era or break it apart entirely.